Hey, I'm Max, and in today's vlog we are going to build a new AI newsletter that we can use for our marketing. And I will show you exactly how I do it from ideation to execution. It's Saturday, I call it a bonus day, so let's go. Hey, and welcome back to a new episode in my vlog Being a Founder. Today is a bonus day for me, Saturday here in Berlin. I'm always saying out of fun bonus day because a lot of people, other companies, incumbents, they don't work on Saturday, and I really believe that if you put in your work ethic, you have a huge advantage. Today, what we want to start with is we had this idea earlier this week. So we were thinking, okay, what is one of the core problems of our ICP? So ICP is our ideal customer profile. So basically the people that are buying in Magia. So for us, this is mainly head of marketings, people in marketing, and also founders. And let's focus on the marketing group first. So I think one of the core challenges that they have right now is how can they actually implement AI in their daily life? And there's so much buzz going around and everyone is like, okay, I automated this or I automated this. I'm generating all my images with ChatGPT. But if I were a marketer, obviously I'm also swamped with my daily work. So it's super hard also for myself to curate what's relevant for me and also then educate myself about these things. So this was the core idea. So how can we help them with that? And then we thought, okay, there are a lot of like newsletters out there. Why not create a newsletter that is specifically for AI in marketing? And with this newsletter, obviously there are two advantages for us. First of all, it would be an owned audience. If I say owned audience, I mean like you have the email list, you have the email newsletter, you can send as many emails as you know. For example, if I'm posting on YouTube or Instagram, there's also always a platform risk. So for example, YouTube could say, hey, we want to ban this account, or Instagram could say, we will reduce your reach drastically because the content we don't like anymore. If you have your own email list, this can't happen. So that's one thing that we always wanted to have. And we have a Magia newsletter where we are already doing it, but I think having a separate one, super niche down for the AI in marketing could be a super cool idea. Second up, one thing that we can do with the newsletter is if we have our core audience, marketers in there, and these are the people that are buying at Magia, we can always present them also our services and they learn also about us over time. And maybe if they are in need of some graphic design resources, then they would buy. And then the third one, if all of this doesn't work, there's always also the option to monetize the newsletter through ads. Okay, so that's the basic idea. Now the question or the challenges obviously that pop up right away is like, who's going to take care of creating the content? Because sending something out every day is super, super hard. Then second up, what are all the things that we need to set it up? And then third up, how do we distribute the actual newsletter? Today, I have the full day, so let's figure out all of these different things. But first, let's take care of some coffee, some breakfast, and then we are jumping straight into answering these questions and building the thing. So as I'm already now here on my way to get my breakfast, we can think a little bit about what we actually need to bring this to life. So first of all, we need a name and domain that we can use. Then second up, we probably need a design. So what I will do first is I will create a design in Figma, and then we will build it in Webflow. And then what we would need is a email provider or like email tool. So in the past we were always using MailerLite to do these things, but I've heard a lot of good things about Beehive, so I will probably try that out today, because then also that means we can try out the referral tactic. And then we need to think a little bit more about how we can actually source the content for the newsletter. So where do we get the information from on a recurring basis? And we would also need some sort of first episode, let's say, because people want a preview or something on the website to see what it will look like. So I will create also the first preview. And the last thing that we would need is then to think about all kinds of marketing assets. But yeah, should be doable in half a day to a day. So we are fully juiced up now and ready to start the day. So one habit that I wanted to share with you guys is something that I implemented at the beginning of last year. Normally I was always waking up and then directly onto my phone, checking my emails, all the messages that were coming in. And I realized it was super stressful, because I was then already starting the day in a way that I was responding to everything that was coming in. So what I did at the beginning of last year is every single morning, no matter what, I was going outside for like a mini walk. So I always call it my mental sanity walk, 10-15 minutes just around the corner, nothing too crazy. This ritual really changed my life, because A, I was way more calm afterwards. B, in this 15 minutes, I could think about, okay, what's the priority for the day? And then also already make a plan for myself. And yeah, sometimes it's raining or it's dark or it's cold and you don't like it, but it makes such a difference. And it's one of the habits or routines that I can only recommend to implement for your own life. And yeah, that's what I did today. And now back to my desk. So let's talk about the name first. I think for a name, it's always quite a challenge to find a name that is short, that also explains exactly what the thing is doing, and to have something where you can actually find a domain that you can use. So for this one, I wrote down a list of potential names, and at first I was thinking something like AI Marketing Brief or AI Marketing Report. Then I was checking a lot of domains and I realized, okay, it's quite hard to find something that's free. And then I thought, what about AI in marketing? So basically having something that is super clear of what it is. So could also be something like AI for marketers, I guess. And then basically filling it with life, because in the end, the name doesn't matter so much. It's mostly about how you can actually use it and how you can actually get the people over. And most people won't care so much about the name, especially if it's a newsletter. So then I was checking the domains basically, and AIinmarketing.io is free. So obviously if you have the .com domain, it's always better. Most of the traffic won't come through Google search for the newsletter anyways. So it doesn't matter too much, because we will sending people over through all of the different marketing channels. So I guess for that one, let's just go with AIinmarketing.io and take it from there over to the next step. Okay, so let's talk first about how we can actually get people to sign up for the newsletter. In general, I think there are a couple of sources that we can use. These sources can be paid ads. So we can spend money on Meta or LinkedIn and move people over into the newsletter. For that one, obviously we need to see how costly it is and if it makes sense to get the right people. Then, second up, what we can do is we can play a lot of our personal branding game. So basically we have a lot of audience in the marketing and founder space already on LinkedIn, YouTube and Instagram. So we can use that audience to also get an initial push towards the newsletter and making sure that we got the first, couple of hundred or so signups. Third up, what we want to try is short form video. So for the video or like for the newsletter, it could be super relevant for a lot of people. Maybe we can try some short form videos on TikTok and Instagram also to push more people into the newsletter that could be interested. Then another idea that I had was to use a lot of referral. So basically we can build a system where we get the first people in the newsletter, and then what they will be doing is they get some sort of freebie or bonus if they refer some of their other people that they know. So for example, if you refer 10 people, you get a list of prompts that you can use for yourself. And then last but not least, probably what we can do is doing our regular launch checklist, let's say. So there are a lot of platforms we can promote it, like Indie Hackers, Product Hunt, or also Reddit. And I think if we are using all of these combined, we can give it an initial push. The thing here is, if we are thinking about the newsletter going forward, it's super important that we are able to maintain it, because having the idea like this is always super easy, but oftentimes it's super hard to execute over time. So I really need to find one or maximum two channels that we can use to actually promote the products, to make sure that we can also do it constantly over time and then grow the newsletter to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50K people, because only then the newsletter will matter for us as a company. Okay, so let's talk about the design next. So I think the page should be super simple here. So basically making sure that we have a strong heading, then some appealing visuals, and we will have some sort of short description or something that explains what the newsletter is about. And we should also have, if possible, some sort of like trust element or showing one of the past episodes. And then there will be a simple sign up button. Normally how I would do this now is I'm, first of all, getting some inspiration together here in my Figma file. So websites that I like, websites that are doing a good job. And then from that one, we will coming up with our own draft for the website. And I think for this one specifically, it's super important that it's mobile first, because most of the people, especially if we are bringing them in through the channels that we will talk about in just a little bit, will actually come through mobile. So it needs to be super optimized, super clear. Yeah, let's basically move over to the Figma file and see what we can do. Let's take a look at the website first. So this is the initial design that I created. The idea was to make it super simple. So first of all, I like this 3D effect. I saw it on some other website and I really wanted to copy it. So you have all these elements, like some ads here, some of the logos, but also some stuff that you would have on your desk. We would have some animation here where some of the items that would be in the newsletter can be dropped here on the desk, just to give a sense on what's going on. And then I wanted to be super simple about the text. So AI in Marketing, your daily newsletter. So it's super clear, you get it every day. And then I wanted to have some sort of social proof. So we have the amount of marketers in here that are already reading it. And maybe here I will put an example episode basically. And here is the mobile design. So focus on the CTA here, focus on the input. I think that should be fine in terms of the design. And now let's move it over to the Webflow and see how we can do that and how long it takes. See you in a bit. Okay, so I spent around an hour or something to build the website now in Webflow. And I think the most important thing with these little side projects or new things that you are doing, don't be too perfectionist. So it's totally fine if not everything is 100% running right now, because you can spend unlimited time in optimizing your page, but sometimes it's just better to get the page out and then optimizing over time. And so for me, that means there are still some things about the buttons and design that I'm not 100% happy with, but for now, I think it's fine. And yeah, I want to show you the results. So if we are looking at the website here now, as you can see here, this is the website implemented in Webflow. So we are already on a good way with this project. So next step is I need to now connect the website to the newsletter portal so that everything is running smoothly on that end. And then we can think about creating an example newsletter and thinking about where we source the data. And then second up, last but not least, the most important thing, distribution. So how do we get the first people to sign up for the newsletter? And maybe we can even get the first ones today. But let's start with the data part first. So in terms of the data, I think we need a couple of different sources where we can get constantly input from. So this can be other newsletters, this can be news outlets, but also LinkedIn pages, or for example, also directories. So as we are promoting, for example, also tools in the newsletter, we can find some AI tool directories, and there are 1,000 tools or something, and we can just pick some of them and present them as a link in the newsletter every day. But at the same time, if I or any of my team members see something interesting, we could also use that to add to the newsletter. And then there needs to be a person or like an automation who is curating or choosing the links on a daily basis. But I always like to think about this in a way that you should start with things that don't scale. So I would rather have the first 2, 3, 4 weeks sending the newsletter out manually, if it just takes 15 minutes or so, to learn how the curation process works. And then we can automate it and maybe create some sort of Airtable or Notion that automatically fills the newsletter. And for finding these sources, I think I will just Google myself. Also check out websites like Indie Hackers, Product Hunt, or Reddit could be also a super nice choice. And we need at least, let's say, 5 to 10 creators on LinkedIn where we can grab some content from. And obviously also our own content. And I will just first create a Notion page with all of these resources so that we can always go back to those. Yeah, let's set it up. And then we see each other after I'm finished with that so that we can talk about distribution. Okay, so I guess I was just wasting about an hour of my time setting up all the email setups. So basically whenever you have a new domain and you want to set up the email, I needed to make sure that A, we have it connected to our Google Workspace, but then B, that we have had it connected to Beehive. And at the same time, you need to set up things like DMARC or SPF. If you are not aware of that, you can Google it, or I can also create a video in the future about this. But basically, this is super important for delivery of your email. And now I was trying to figure out one specific thing because I wanted to verify one email on Beehive that we want to use as a reply to email. And it was just so annoying because the email just didn't send from them to confirm. So I was trying it 10 times or something. Then I was changing everything on our Google Workspace to a group so that we can get it. And then finally now I needed to change it to an alias of my own email. Just because I wanted to get it done. That's done now. Now I'm writing the first episode, basically pulling together the design and everything. And then final two things for the day would be to talk about how we get all the data, and then second up also the distribution. Okay, so the first episode is done now and I can show it to you in just a second. Basically what I was doing is I was pulling together everything that I needed for the first episode. So some intro text, then I was pulling together the first 5 links. And then there is a couple of things obviously that we can improve going forward, but for now I think it's fine. With that, we also have the first draft ready. Now let's talk a little bit about how we managed to run the newsletter now. So I've created a Notion page now with all the different sources where we can look for inspiration. So LinkedIn accounts, other newsletters, YouTube videos, but also directories. And now the first job, what we will be doing is we will pre-batch the first 10 episodes or something. So basically I will pull the links from there and then put them into a Notion table that clearly states, hey, these are the links for the next episode. With the pre-batching, I mean, I give myself a little bit peace of mind because I don't want to be in the situation where I'm in the morning, I'm in a rush and then I need to quickly find links or I need to find some content for the newsletter. So we pre-batch it in our Notion page and then we can always change things if we realize some links would be better. Then the ultimate goal for that would be to A, hand it over to someone else, or B, automate it in the future so that we have just one source of truth. Hey, here are the links that are coming in, and everyone from the team that is working on the project can also share some of their links and then automatically move them over to Beehive. And I think for now it's super good that I curated myself just to get a sense on the type of content, and I will also talk to some of the subscribers of the newsletter what kind of content they want to see. And after sending out the first couple of episodes, I will check if the content is the correct one so that people are actually enjoying it. And we can also take a look at the statistics, so from opening rates, subscription rates, unsubscription rates, just to see if we are going into the right direction. Okay, so now we have spent most of the day building the actual product. And yes, I'm a builder myself, so I enjoy days like this where I can go from idea to finished product in just a couple of hours. But one thing that I realized over my career is that your product doesn't matter at all. It's all about the distribution. If no one ever hears about that this newsletter now exists, then there will be no readers. There will be no one that can actually see the work that we have done. This is why I now always focus also on the distribution, or I mean, at least I try to focus more on the distribution. In terms of the distribution, what kind of options do we have right now? So first of all, there needs to be some initial push. So I will send the newsletter to all of my friends. I will send the newsletter to everyone on our team, to colleagues. I will use all of the channels that I have, and then you get the first subscribers. Then second up, what I want to do is I want to have a launch push. So I can use platforms like Product Hunt, for example, Indie Hackers, but also Reddit just to get an initial push. And I will also use the current newsletters that we already have at Magia to move over some people into this specific AI newsletter if they are interested. And I hope to get the first couple of hundred signups through that. That would be awesome, because then I can build on top two different things. One thing that we will test for sure this week is paid ads. So we want to have an answer on how much do we actually need to spend to get one subscriber. My assumption now would be if we can spend, I don't know, $1, $2, $3, $4 to get one subscriber, that would be super, super good, because these were the numbers that we spent in the past. If it's 20 euros, that's too expensive, and then that wouldn't work for us and we need to find other ways. Second up, I want to set up a referral program. So next up, I will build a freebie that we can give out to anyone that is referring some of their friends, and we can easily implement that into the whole workflow, and it's also not so much work for us to do it. I'm thinking either like a template library or something like a AI prompt library, something that is really tailored or also tied to the newsletter itself. Last but not least, one thing that I was thinking of is social media or viral video content, because there I'm seeing like a huge upside right now. Upside means for me that you can have a viral video and it can move in thousands of users. So asymmetric upside for the production that we are taking. Problem with video is always it's very, very hard to produce and it takes a lot of time. Luckily right now we have one intern that is helping us on the video front. So I will probably ask him to produce 10 to 20 videos just to test them out on our own channels. And then you can also always ask other people to post the stuff. But the first 4 weeks, let's say, for this newsletter is all about experimenting, getting the first initial traction, and then we see what works and can also extend from there. And from the day to day where I actually built the product to us having an ROI out of it as Magia, the company, it will probably take a lot of time. So we are here for a couple of months. I will share regular updates also on the newsletter, but I think for now it's fine. It's cool that I built it today, and hopefully I will still get the first kind of signups today for the newsletter, so stay tuned. Last update from me before I finish off this vlog. So I just sent over the link of the AI newsletter in one of my founder groups, and yeah, success. We have the first subscribers for the newsletter. Yes, and here we can see the first 2 subscribers. Such a nice feeling to actually do stuff yourself also as a founder, because on the one side, founder means you need to learn to delegate, and a lot of the stuff is now taken over also by my team members. But right now I was able to go from idea in the morning to having people sign up for an actual product. Just feels so fulfilling, and I love this feeling of being able to create something, and it's probably the thing that drives me most as a founder. So really enjoyed the day. I hope you learned some stuff. Put your comments or like your questions up in the comments, and see you in the next episode. Bye bye.